NAFEO was founded about, 40 years ago this year by a group of HBCU presidents who saw the need for a collaborative voice, a coming together of the richly diverse, historically black colleges and universities into a voice of one on issues across the gamut, issues for shoring up and making sure that the colleges themselves have the infrastructure, the personnel, and all that is needed to make them competitive and the best at their game, and a voice to let the world know about the richness of the diversity of HBCUs and their greatness.
The National Conference continues to be an important part of NAFEO. During 1977 and 78, presidential peer seminars were developed. The first two of these seminars were held at Callaway Garden in Georgia. The presidential peer seminars were developed to allow presidents to come together to develop an agenda to seek solutions to problems facing their universities and to reserve free time to interact with colleagues. Several issues were discussed at the seminars. To name a few, the establishment of the Executive Order on Historically Black Colleges and Universities, the Pell Grant Program, the case of Adam versus Richardson. The list would go on and on. Program agendas were developed for presidents, spouses, and children. This is just a bird's-eye view of some of the beginning activities. I was fortunate to be a part of assisting in developing programs for NAFEO that will have lasting effect on historically black colleges and universities. I was fortunate to be a part of working with persons on the Hill to develop programs that would have lasting benefits for black colleges and universities. I personally feel that there is no greater cause for black Americans and all Americans than to be involved and to get behind the work of black colleges and universities.
Today, because of the work of NAFEO and because of the work of its sister associations, UNCF and then later the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, our institutions are stronger than ever. Our institutions are prepared and situated to drive the economy, to help get the nation back on course. Another question is, well, why do you need HBCUs today when African Americans can go to any schools? You need HBCUs because of our success rate. We certainly can go to any school, but the best research shows that other than a limited number of Ivy League institutions, the institutions that are doing the best job of graduating African Americans in growth and high needs areas, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, health professions, and teaching professions, they're coming from an HBCU.
NAFEO is about community. There are institutions that are public, that are private, that are two-year schools, that have research missions, that are liberal arts colleges, that are training schools, and certainly we all have a legitimate role to play in furthering the interests of higher education for minority students. Most of our institutions have one thing in common. They are generally underfunded, and certainly we have been able to extend opportunities, provide quality education, while essentially turning water into wine. As we go forward, certainly we will need to find ways to assist the nation in closing the achievement gap, the income gap, and to expand the American economy and the American democracy.
The future of HBCUs is as bright as the past. The HBCUs are needed more today than at any time, again, as the cost of an education goes up, as the country becomes more diverse, as there's a greater need for those disciplines in which we are graduating disproportionate numbers of students. Our campuses are needed more than ever. We're not just producing students for the labor force, we're graduating students who are steeped in, rooted in, and understand the traditions, the best traditions of African American families, the faith, the family, the extended family, reaching across the borders and bringing along brothers and sisters and communities who've traditionally been locked out. So the role of HBCUs has got to be as a driving force in realizing the goals of 2020 set by President Obama and the other growth goals of the nation.